Addressing the possibility of an in-ring return, The Undertaker said on the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast, "Absolutely, if I was physically able to do it, I would be out there right now. There is a huge amount of our fan base that will grade you on a curve. They understand that you're getting long in the tooth, you have a lot of miles on you, but they just want you out there. Then there is one part of that fan base, oh man, he's old. He shouldn't be out there. He shouldn't be doing this," without any hesitation at all. If I felt like I could go and deliver a performance that people expect when they see my name on the card, I would do it, but I know I can't. Talking about the prospect of former AEW champion Kenny Omega signing with WWE, Jim Cornette had this to say on his podcast. "Well, I agree because what is he now? 37, 38? He is now older than Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson when I brought them to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Well, 39. There you go. So he is a 40-year-old guy. He's got no proven record in his only competition of drawing any ratings, if quite the opposite. They are aware that he is prickly personality and he is in it for his art. I've said it before, if they made an offer for him, it would be so the other guys wouldn't have him just to disrupt them, and it's a minute expense on the WWE's part, but also two things would happen. They would think he is a complete imbecile or lunatic with the way that he thinks and talks and acts and view things, or conversely, they would give him a nervous breakdown with the way that WWE thinks, acts, and talks about things." When it comes to a match between John Cena and Austin Theory at WrestleMania 39, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, "It's been the WrestleMania match for a year or since July. That's when it's been earmarked." With MVP issuing a challenge on behalf of Omos for a match at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar, fans reacted pretty negatively to this, as they wrote on Twitter, "Am I tripping or did I hear that Omos challenged Brock Lesnar for a match at WrestleMania? LMAO. There's no way that's actually going to happen, right? Is Vince back in charge now? Please, God, no. Aw man, we don't want to see this. Is Vince back in charge? With the way Brock versus Bobby ended and now this, I think he is. What do you expect from Vince? He must always have some control over everything, unfortunately. So wait for Goldberg to somehow cash in at WrestleMania and win the WWE Championship, because why? Because F you, that's why. This is ridiculous now. WWE is going too far. Look how big and tall and even how strong this man is. It is absolutely unfair to do this to Omos. He's definitely not lasting 5 minutes. Brock, don't show up next week." A fan that attended WrestleMania last year is suing WWE for losing hearing in his left ear, as the lawsuit reads. On or about April 3rd, 2022, plaintiff attended WrestleMania 38, which was hosted by defendant and located at AT&T Stadium, 1 AT&T Way, Arlington, Texas, 76011. Plaintiff was an invitee on the premises. Defendant was the occupier of the premises. Plaintiff was seated next to the stage of the venue. When performance began, pyrotechnics went off. The blast from the pyrotechnics was so loud that it caused plaintiff to lose almost all hearing in his left ear. No facts suggest that anything plaintiff did or failed to do in any way caused or contributed to the incident or resulting damages. Defendant failed to notify anyone or place any warnings to warn of the existence of the dangers associated with pyrotechnics. As a result of the incident, plaintiff suffered serious injuries. Defendant is strictly liable for plaintiff's injuries arising from the pyrotechnic display because the use of pyrotechnics indoors constitutes an abnormally dangerous activity for the purposes of the common law rule that a party carrying on an abnormally dangerous activity is strictly liable for the damages caused thereby. Due to the proximity of the pyrotechnics to the invitees, the indoor nature of the display, and the inherent danger of pyrotechnics, the degree of risk of harm to invitees was particularly high at WrestleMania 38. The likelihood of harm associated with those risks was commensurate with the risk. Though defendant's lack of reasonable care caused plaintiff's injury, plaintiff asserts that no amount of reasonable care could eliminate risk that accompanies use of indoor pyrotechnics. The damage stemming from loud blasts from pyrotechnics was exacerbated by the closed atmosphere of an indoor facility like AT&T Stadium. The harm arose from the loud sound produced by the pyrotechnic blast. While the use of pyrotechnic displays is commonplace on holidays at outdoor events, the use of deafening pyrotechnics in indoor facilities with echoing effects is an irregular practice and should not be considered a matter of common usage. Moreover, the relative value of indoor pyrotechnic displays is marginal compared to the inherent risk it puts on crowded audiences in indoor facilities. The potential for harm by burns or deafening noise cannot be outweighed by the cosmetic effects of indoor pyrotechnics. On Twitter, a fan would write this to WWE star Mustafa Ali after the star posted a highlight from his latest match on Raw. Like a bad penny, just can't get rid of this guy. Only a penny has a small amount of value. Ali is still worthless. Ali responded, "James, we say things we don't mean when we can't express love and gratitude. We even say things about others that we actually feel about ourselves. It's okay. I want you to know that I, Mustafa Ali, appreciate you. You are not worthless. You matter, James." Talking about his recovery from knee replacement surgery, Paul Wight told Metro UK, "Well, I spent 11 weeks in a wheelchair because I was waiting for them to build the implant for my knee because of my size. I had crushed all the bones in my knee. I was bleeding into my shin, so I've got a good pain tolerance, but when I say I rode the tire down to the rim, that's exactly what I did. But luckily, I still have all my ligaments in that knee. Everything's good there. It's a nice, brand new titanium joint, so it's good for 35 years. So I can parachute if I want to. Not that I'll ever jump out of an airplane. We all saw the movie Operation Dumbo Drop. I don't think that's me. We're good." Addressing rumors of having backstage heat in WWE, Melina told The Artist version 1, "This is the way it is for a lot of backstage rumors in wrestling where everybody says like, hey, I was difficult and I had an attitude and everything. If you know my personality, I don't have an attitude. I always do what I'm told. I do everything to the best of my ability. I don't talk back, like especially back then. Now, different. But back then, I always played it safe and I always did what everybody told me to do. I listened, never talked. I just loved what I did and I knew it was a blessing. I was very grateful every day I was there. So the backstage rumors thing, that's what people say when, who knows where it originated from, who the source is. And then you have to consider the source and what their position was compared to mine, or if they were jealous, if they were female or if they're male and I turned down. What is it? When people kind of like try to flirt with you or whatever, then you kind of have to turn them down because you're taken. You never know their reaction. They hate me because I rejected them. And it's not a rejection, it's like I'm taken. So you never know where the source came from. Touching on the return of Edge to WWE, the wrestling blog revealed an interesting stipulation in his deal with the company, writing, "According to some reports I received, when Edge signed his contract back in 2020, one of the conditions from Edge was to not put a title on him. He wanted to have one last good run giving the fans what they've been waiting for years and helping the young talent." Speaking on the sessions, Nikki Bella said this about not being a part of pro wrestling anymore. "I miss it a lot. Every time I go do cardio and I put on my music, I'm thinking storylines and cutting promos. I miss it. I miss it so much. I watch every now and then, and it's only the women's stuff. But it's like I'll watch certain matches and I'm like, oh, that'd be so fun to be a part of. But yeah, I wish I could come back in WWE. I would love to go back to do things, but it's just different when you're a mom." With her hoping to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2023, Melina said this about it to the Asylum Wrestling store. "I feel like if it doesn't happen now, why at all anywhere else? Unless we go back to LA. It's kind of these things where it's like, okay, if it's not in LA, then it's this feeling that I'm never going to be in the Hall of Fame unless I die type of deal. That's like 30 years from now or something like that." Cutting an emotional promo on Bryan Danielson during Dynamite, MJF touched on splitting with his fiancée as he said, "I'm the guy who got left stranded by anyone I've ever opened up to. I'm the guy who got thrown away like trash by anyone who's ever claimed they loved me. And then I met a girl who changed my outlook on every single person on this planet. My dream girl. A girl I fell in love with. She convinced me that not everyone in this world is bad. So that I became the man who got down on one knee. And I told that girl I wanted to start a family with her. I wanted to make a home with her. I wanted to have children children with her. And do you know what she did, Bryan Danielson? She left me. She left me, Bryan. She left me because I'm unlovable. And the only thing I have in this life that I can trust, the only thing I have in this world that makes me feel unconditional love is this Triple B. The AEW World Championship is the only thing stopping me grabbing a fistful of pills and calling it a day. Sean Ross Sapp would report this after the show. The MJF promo had a lot of truth to it. Normally wouldn't cover that type of thing, but he and his fiance did have a split, as was referenced on tonight's AEW Dynamite. Recalling his time in WWE, Maven would accuse Triple H of preventing him from getting a push in the company, telling Cafe de Renee, "Listen, who the hell knows? I have my theories. My theory is just Hunter didn't like me." I actually got confirmation of this at one of the sightings I did just a few months ago from Sergeant Slaughter. Sarge pulled me aside, and I'm catching up with Slaughter, and he was like, "Maven, I always fought for you. It's like always fought for you in the writers' meetings," and he was like, "There's one guy holding you back." I was like, "Sarge, who was it?" He was like, I don't want," and I'm like, "Was it Hunter?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That MFer. And for what? Like, I'll never understand it because, what, did I like threaten him? Like, I'll never understand it. I did nothing but put him over in I've never done nothing but talk amazing. He's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. He's an amazing character and positioned himself smart in the company. Like, what am I gonna do to threaten you in any way?" I just never could understand that. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported this about the main roster prospects for an NXT star, saying, "Okay, so the deal was that Cameron Grimes was finishing up in NXT because he was getting called to the main roster. Then, right now, what's going on is they are waiting for an idea for the main roster. He's in limbo. He's done with NXT and he's supposed to be on the main roster, but they don't have anything for him, so they're not going to do it yet." Touching on how AEW can improve their product, Nature Boy Ric Flair suggested this to president of the company Tony Khan on his podcast. "I would continue to own the company, but I would let somebody fresh book it. He books and runs it, but he's also very vested personally in football, which he takes a lot of pride in, and the Jaguars are getting better, which I'm really happy for them. They will probably be in the playoffs next year. So what I'm saying is Tony has to divide his time and his passion between two things." With pro wrestling legend Barry Windham suffering a heart attack in December, Arn Anderson gave a health update on his friend, saying, "Getting a third party that he is making his way back slowly. He's hopefully going to be much, much better as time goes by. It was a really, really bad scare. I know that it scared the out of all of us as soon as we heard it. It was a very, very close call. I think he's getting a little bit better along. I don't think he's in a position where he can travel or anything like that yet." A lot of thought has went into Barry Windham and his condition, a lot of prayers, and we appreciate that coming from everybody. I know the family does. Hopefully Barry will be up and around before we know it. Taking to Twitter, former NFL star Pat McAfee hinted at potentially not working for WWE following their sale as he wrote, "Man, brain's been cooking. Excited to get back, but I love this annual think sesh at the beach with my bride. The future of PMS Live has been a lot of fun to think about. Going through all the numbers, facts are facts. We've really been quite a disruptor in this whole daily sports media world. I'm very proud of it. We don't have producers giving us takes or researchers telling us what to talk about. We don't have any investors. We don't have a lead-in audience or people leaving their TVs on overnight. We, alongside our incredible fan base, built this thing both literally and figuratively. We decide what to chat about, we pay for the footage rights, we negotiate the deals with our partners, and we changed the game. That's rather epic. What's next though? A lot of fun to think about. Show will always be free, but we need to keep evolving. Baby girl on the way. What's that mean for my future with WWE? I love it, but they're allegedly going to be sold. Who's buying them? Do I want to work/make money for those people? While many fans are concerned about Vince McMahon returning to creative in WWE, it seems that has not taken place. As Sean Ross Sapp wrote, this week a WWE talent reached out and told me they believed Vince McMahon was back in creative. I couldn't get it confirmed at all. Sources within WWE that would be in the position to know tell Fightful Select that these fears are unfounded. We couldn't get any confirmations on those talents' fears, as noted in the original post. Triple H has been open that Vince has input and has been adamant to talent that Triple H has final say. On the Kick Rocks podcast, Bischoff touched on the current presentation in WWE of Bray Wyatt as he said, "That's one of those I'm just going to watch and see where it goes. That's some really bizarre stuff. The character and presentation, first of all, it's cool as hell, but I don't know how to relate to it. What do I want from that character? Do I want him to emerge as a hero? Maybe an anti-hero? Do I want him to be a bad guy? I don't know what I want him to be. I'm just looking at him going, wow, that's pretty cool." With Matt Riddle having been away from WWE programming for months now, Ringside News has given an update on a potential comeback writing. For fans hoping for Matt Riddle's WWE return, we were told that his name will not be discussed by creative until Talent Relations informs them that Riddle is once again a character they can pitch for. Explaining WWE's reasoning for not having Sami Zayn defeat Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, it was said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the argument was that the ratings Zayn is drawing are in conjunction with being linked with the bloodline, and would he draw television viewers away from the storyline? But the argument is that they could do that, and the storyline continues, particularly with the Usos and Sikoa, along with Reigns now trying to eliminate Zayn, which should be the storyline now as well. The Zayn story, coming off losing to Johnny Knoxville last year, has been a gigantic success. It's noted that Bloodline are still the top merchandise sellers, and Rhodes is very hot as well. There was definite fear of Sammy Chance during the Rhodes promo on Raw in Ottawa, which is why they did the promo the way they did, with no downtime to allow Chance to develop, which would have started the wrong momentum. But that didn't happen. The Rhodes Paul Heyman segment was flatter this week, but I don't sense it's anything to worry about. WrestleMania was guaranteed to be a major business success just based off the name and the current company momentum, no matter what the key matches end up being. But the hottest feud by far in Mania season is the Zayn program with Reigns. When it comes to WWE plans for Roman Reigns following WrestleMania 39, where he is set to defend his title against Cody Rhodes, Dave Meltzer said, "They are slowly building that match since Owens turned down joining with Zayn to take out the bloodline and told Zayn he should instead join with his best friend Jay. They did neither the Jay turn to cost Zayn the match, nor Owens and Zayn making up and hugging to end the show, because they feel delaying such things will keep the ratings strong. As far as if they will go back to Zayn or Zayn will win the title from Reigns or beat Reigns if Cody wins the title, nothing is certain past it is an option they could always go to. Right internally, the belief is that Reigns is the man, and that's not changing, but that doesn't mean he has to be champion forever. The Rhodes storyline dictates he has to win the title at some point, and it's no longer a situation where Reigns has to stay unbeaten because of the mega match with The Rock. While Rock did not close the door on the idea for next year's schedule permitting, it's probably not worth banking on seriously for next year's plans. According to Sean Ross Sapp, WWE has let go of one of their employees, as it was noted that Fightful has learned that WWE Senior Vice President of Talent Operations and Strategy, James Kimball, is no longer with the company. We're told it was an HR violation terminated immediately last week. Kimball had been with the company for 2 years, working on the Next in Line program, among other things. He'd also spent 10 years with the UFC. Calling out fans that claim she and Ronda Rousey cannot wrestle, Shayna Baszler responded, telling WWE Deutschland, "It's funny because you'll hear you can't wrestle, or people tell us we can't wrestle or learn how to wrestle. All we do is MMA. We're probably the only 2 girls in the locker room, maybe on the roster. There are maybe 5 that know how to do a double leg takedown, a real double leg. That's wrestling. It's funny the way people think about us because we're too good. I like when I'm doing stuff and I look in the audience and people have to watch my matches between their fingers and they're like, oh no, I like that. I dabble in comic books, and there is a Batman comic where someone says, why do you call yourself a bat? You don't fly. He says, I don't fly because I don't need to fly. Me and Rhonda don't fly around because we don't need to. Other people have to do that because they don't know how to grab your arm and twist it in any direction. We do. It's different if you look at it that way and open your mind. It's specifically the United States. Europe specifically, Japan, they're a little more open to this style of wrestling. Spent a lot of time in Japan wrestling, and that's where I really got comfortable. Like anyone, when I first started in pro pro wrestling, Josh Barnett. I want to have a top rope move. I want to do cool stuff. No one can do what you do. You need to embrace what you do. When I went to Japan and lived there and wrestled for a while, I really got comfortable and went, yes, I don't need to do that. This is cool. This is the cool stuff. It's been fun. When speaking about her future after pro wrestling, Carmella said to Celebrity Skin Talk, "I'm at a point now where I just want to have a good time and hopefully focus on something outside of WWE. I would love to do something like that because fashion has always been something that's been such a big part of my life. So if there's a way I can kind of branch out and do something like that, that's a long-term goal." Talking on Hawk versus Wolf about now being retired from pro wrestling, The Undertaker mentioned that it's been a horrible transition. "I don't know that I'll ever find a passion like I did for actually being in the ring. I'm doing the one-man show and I'm enjoying that, and it's new to me, so I can pour myself into it again, but I don't know if I'll ever have that passion that wrestling gave to me. I watch the product and I'm like, damn, I would have done that differently." On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer mentioned that WWE is keen on signing top AEW stars. As he said, "A lot of key AEW deals are going to be up this year, and WWE is going to go hard at everyone good. Also, there's going to be a lot of WWE deals up, and Tony Khan needs to make the product and the perception of the product attractive enough where guys on the other side go, they're solid, they have an easier schedule, they're financially stable, they're doing good. But right now, I don't think the perception of WWE talent is to go there. So that's the key thing, is perception for WWE talent is like, hey, it's a fresh coat of paint for me and I'm in the middle. It's got to be the right guys for AEW. With former AEW champion and EVP for the company Kenny Omega set to see his contract expire, this was said about his status on Wrestling Observer Radio. If Cody had not gotten over, then they would have said, hey, these AEW guys don't get over. But that didn't happen either. So, but it's not, Tony Khan losing Kenny Omega, to me, from a perception standpoint, would be really, really bad. So I would say that Kenny Omega is in a very good position. I'm not saying today, but whenever that day is, 9 months down the line, again, we don't know what's going to happen with the TV deal. It may not be negotiated until next year. Speaking about Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks potentially jumping ship to WWE, Ric Flair noted on his podcast, "I hope they do, but if I'm Tony Khan, I got a guy in talent relations saying, shut the F up. Really? Do you think Vince would tolerate this? No. I think Tony is becoming so enamored with the product, like I said to you the other day, and he's also very enamored, so personally attached to the product as he is with the football as well. He is not looking at what's going on. Why are they still talking about CM Punk?" According to PW Insider, former WWE star and current IWGP Women's Champion Mercedes Monet has an option in her contract with New Japan to make an appearance for the upcoming AEW x NJPW Forbidden Door event. Still, there is no indication at this time that she has any interest in signing a long-term deal with All Elite Wrestling. During an interview with Wrestling Inc., Young Rock producer Brian Gewirtz talked about the prospect of the Great One returning to WWE and why a WrestleMania match could not take place this year. Look, time is ever moving forward. There's many reasons from scheduling and stuff that I probably don't even have any idea in terms of why something would happen or not happen. Organically, it makes sense. Who knows? All I know is if I get a call saying, hey, I'm going to Mania, I'll see you there, I'm ready to hop on a plane and go to Mania. I know that's not a well-detailed, documented answer, but that's the case because that could happen anytime, whether it's this one down the road, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, who knows? Dwayne and myself, to a much lesser extent, we always have ties with WWE. They're always going to be a part of the family and part of us. If it happens, great. I'll be ready to go. Dwayne will be ready to go. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but we'll see what happens. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.